Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibre Tools and DIY channel. You know, painting can be a very satisfying DIY project, but you know what's not as satisfying about it? Cleaning up. So let's talk about some tips to make the cleanup process a lot easier. Stay tuned, I'll see you right after this. Now the rims of your paint can collect paint, which if they get full enough can drip over the edge, or it can even cause a mess when you take the lid off as well. One way to avoid that happening is simply to create a drain in the rim, and you can do that by taking a nail, taking your hammer, and just tap some holes in the rim channel. That way the rim channel won't get full of paint and it'll drain right through those holes back into the can. Another good tip to prevent paint from dripping all over the place is to put a rubber band or string of some sort across the top of the can. So that way when you're coming out of the can with your brush full of paint, you have something to rub the brush on to wipe off the excess paint. Which of course falls right back into the can. Rubbing the brush on the rim as you come out only adds to the problem of the rim filling up with paint and possibly spilling over the edge and dripping as well. So that's why the rubber band method is cleaner. Okay, another risky proposition when it comes to painting is pouring the paint. If you're not careful, the paint can actually spill out of the can with a wider fan and miss the mark. See how wide that is? So from here to here is how wide that paint came out of the can. So one way to avoid that happening and making that channel that it pours out more narrow is to take some painter's tape. Let's take a piece off. And what you want to do is place a few strips across the edge of the can like that. Take another strip, place it across the edge like that. Now I'm using some narrow painter's tape, okay? It's only about this thick, but they do have wider ones. And with the wider tape, you probably just need one here and one there. So now that you got your painter's tape positioned on the can, so it produces an angle, okay? Almost a 90-degree angle there. Now the paint will pour out in a more narrow path over this angle here, reducing the risk of spillage. The rubber band method is also a great way to clean your mixing stick as you take it out of the can as well. At least one side of it. Well, what if the job's not done that day and you don't want to clean your rollers or brushes? Well, you can do this. Take your brush or roller, toss it in a plastic bag. And then just toss it in the freezer. When you're ready, just simply take them out of the freezer, let them thaw out, and you're ready to paint again. It's best to put water-based paints or latex paintbrushes or rollers in the refrigerator. Oil-based paints are good to put in the freezer. And it doesn't have to be plastic. You can wrap it with aluminum foil as well. Now, if you want to preserve your paint trays or keep them clean instead of having to buy new ones all the time, you can do a couple of things. You can wrap them in aluminum foil, or you can slap a plastic bag over them, or even a garbage bag. If you got some plastic wrap, that'll do fine as well. That way you can pour the paint in there. Do what you got to do. Take the bag off. And your tray should look like that. Save a lot of money doing it that way. Now, if you're doing a heavy duty paint job where it requires a 5-gallon bucket, they have these things right here. They're called bucket grids, okay? And you just place them in the bucket. I got these hooks right here, and these hooks rest on the rim of the bucket, and it just hangs like that. So when you dip your roller in there and you pull it out, you rub it against this grid here, and it gets all the excess paint off. So it's a pretty simple but useful device to get excess paint off your roller so you won't make a mess. And they also got a smaller version as well for smaller buckets. Now, this may seem pretty obvious, but you definitely want a good drop cloth. A canvas drop cloth is probably the best, something that absorbs the paint without it seeping through and messing up the floor underneath. So if you're working with old drop cloths that bleed through, you may want to get rid of them and, restock with some brand new canvas drop cloths so you won't be messing up the floors in your house or anybody else's. Something else to think about when it comes to spillage from your can. You may want to just simply take a paper plate or something like that and place your can on it to catch any spills over the edges, okay? Even if you have a drop cloth down. It's better to be extra safe than sorry. And of course, keep the handy damp cloth or sponge around to wipe up anything that's getting messy. All right, guys, that's just a couple of tips to make your painting process a lot easier and less frustrating. And remember, if you're gonna clean your painters or rollers and you're using latex paints, just use warm water or water. If you're gonna clean your painters or rollers and you've been using oil-based paints, use mineral spirits, turpentine, or paint thinners. So guys, as always, hit that like and subscribe button if you learned something from the video. Don't forget to share it. Go to Calibrate.com if you really like the video, and go ahead and support us by grabbing some of the products we have there. Appreciate you. See you next time.